Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday evening. It's the rite of passage. That means it's time for the wrestling experience. The wrestling experience is on the air tonight. It's Thursday, and you've landed on the mothership. You've landed on Planet Experience. Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. And tonight we have a big fight feel of a show, and it's going to be massive. First of all, we're going to rewind WrestlePalooza. We're going to rewind WrestlePalooza. Then we're going to rewind All Out from Toronto, AEW All Out. Then we're going to talk about Dynamite. Then we got some wrestling stories, a couple of wrestling stories for you here tonight. All of this and so much more here tonight on the Wrestling Experience. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk about my announcement that I made earlier last night. I'll talk about that and so much more here tonight. It's Thursday. You've landed on that mothership. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to the Wrestling Experience. All right, folks, welcome back to the experience. Welcome back to the wrestling experience. Please make sure that you hit the like button. You smash that like button. Everyone around the world, make sure you smash the like button. And of course, you subscribe today. I greatly appreciate it. So before we begin, everyone, I just want to remind everyone of the announcement that I made last night while we were doing Dynamite, which, by the way, you can watch the encore presentation of AEW Dynamite. The show was fantastic, and I did the show last night. I'm taking a little break from now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking a light schedule during my streaming. So next week, I will be off. I will be taking the entire week off, and I am going to recharge these batteries. And I'm going to be taking the week off next week. We will not have any shows on next week, but like I said, you can watch the encore presentation of all my shows, every last one of them, including all the PLEs you want, on my YouTube channel. All you got to do is go on the YouTube channel and like, comment, subscribe, and share, and you can be part of it all. Rewind, replay, and enjoy. Also, ladies and gentlemen, going forward, Raw, SmackDown will be on a limited basis. I'll be streaming Raw and SmackDown on a limited basis only, and of course, the wrestling experience will also be on a limited basis as well. And it's just going to be a very light schedule. Now, I will not be covering. I will not be covering Crown Jewel Perth. I won't be doing that show, and I won't be doing Wrestle Dream. However, I will be back in November to bring you WWE's final pay-per-view offering, which will be the Survivor Series in San Diego, as WWE debuts in San Diego, and they will bring you the Survivor Series. So that will be WWE's final pay-per-view. And as far as AEW's pay-per-view, I'll cover World's End, which will happen at the end of December. So those are the only two shows that I will be covering going forward. But I'll be watching Wrestle Dream, and I'm gonna be watching Crown Jewel as well, just to give me a little breathing room. I have things to do. I have other personal things that I have to take care of. So we have to modify my schedule, and it's going to be modified indeed. So that's the announcement that I made last night during Dynamite, and we're going forward. So let's just get into it. Let's just get into it, and let's give you some wrestling news. Happy Thursday, Daniel Verita Sports. How you doing, Daniel Verita Sports? How you doing? Hit that like button, Daniel. Thank you so much for coming in tonight and watching the wrestling experience. So let's talk about this for a second. Cody wants to lose the WWE. Cody wanted to lose the WWE title to Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza. Okay. According to BodySlam.net, Cody and Drew pitched the idea of Randy Orton accidentally costing Rhodes the match here, which would have resulted in McIntyre closing ESPN's debut WWE pay per view as a new WWE champion. However, Triple H decided to go in a different direction on Saturday night. So Triple H, they were going to give Drew McIntyre the belt, but apparently Triple H did not see it that way. He wanted to go in another direction. So they threw the idea out. The idea was tossed out, and and then they just went with Cody Rhodes retaining. We're going to talk about WrestlePalooza. We're going to talk about all of that and so much more tonight. Chris, how's it going? Chris, how's it going tonight? Don't want AEW to succeed. It's just another indie shrinking promotion. Oh, I don't know about that, Chris. I wouldn't call AEW a shrinking promotion. I wouldn't say that. They've been around for so many years now. Rio is a little shrimp that dresses like a schoolgirl. Well, yeah, I get that, Chris. I get that. And I know that you're not a fan of AEW. AEW stinks. Well, what's up, Jeffrey? How's it going tonight? What's going on, Jeffrey? How's it going tonight? What is happening? Thank you for coming on, and everyone in the chat. Please make sure that you smash the like button. You smash it. Um, Welcome to the mothership. Absolutely. 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 Welcome to the mothership. Okay, folks. So, as I said, per bodyslam.net, Triple H, Triple H changed the storyline to Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. So that match was changed at the last minute. Triple H says that he wanted to go in a different direction, and that's exactly what he did. Gail Kim has been taking heat about Rio. Okay, so so okay, folks. So that's the story about Cody Rhodes and his match at WrestlePalooza. So we're gonna talk about WrestlePalooza in a minute. All right, let's continue with the wrestling news. Let me just go down here and see what else I got for you. It's that ain't here. Uh-uh. All right. Oh, I read that Cody wanted to drop the championship. Yeah, I just talked about that, Jeffrey. Per bodyslam.net. He they pitched the idea of Randy Orton costing Rhodes the title, but um, Triple H decided to go against the grain and not do that. Um, has been taking shots at WWE and ESPN for now. Oh, okay, okay, Chris. I don't know who that is, but okay. Um, okay, folks. All right, all right, folks. Here we go. WrestleMania 43. As you all know, WrestleMania 43 will be taking place in Saudi Arabia in 2027. But a lot of people are happy about the move, despite all the backlash. Many are in support of the move, and that includes JBL, who believes WrestleMania 43 could be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. What's it? Oh, okay. While speaking on something to wrestle, JBL talked about the backlash over WrestleMania 43 taking place in Saudi Arabia. He says many fans were upset that the show won't be in the United States and reached with boos and chants of "you sold out" and negative comments online. Believe that most of the criticism comes from the Saudi Arabia involvement, but it feels misguided. JBL explains that no country, including the US, is free of issues. So refusing to do business with a certain nation doesn't make sense. Well, as you all know, and I don't want to get into any political thing here. But we all know about the Saudis and what they have done and everything else. And people are still are saying that the WWE should not be dealing with the Saudi government. However, however, the WWE has a commitment to the Saudis and the sports entertainment world in Saudi Arabia. And that is the reason that that the Royal Rumble will take place in Saudi Arabia and WrestleMania will be taking place in Saudi Arabia. This is the reason because the Saudis paid the WWE a boatload, and I mean a boatload of money. And I don't think in my infinite wisdom that the WWE can say no to the Saudis. This was their coup, and they paid the WWE a lot of money. And remember, World Wrestling Entertainment, the world is in the W. The world is in the W. And that is something that you all need to understand. This is a global entertainment company, and they take the show all over the world, including Saudi Arabia. So yes, you may be upset. Yes, you may not like how this has gone down, but we have to accept it. We just have to accept it. We don't know what's going to happen here. Um so I just don't think at this time. I don't think at this time that the WWE is going to back down to fans because you don't like what they're doing. Um like I said before, I'll say it again. Yeah, you have to understand it's World Wrestling Entertainment. And that's how you have to look at it. That is how you look at it. And like I said, I cannot sit here and say WWE is wrong for doing that because first of all, like I said before, I'll say it again. In my mindset, is a global entertainment. It's for it's a global entertainment company. And they go all over. Look, they're going to Perth, Australia soon. This company does a lot of things that may not disagree, you may disagree with, but in the same token, in the same breath, they're out there to make money and they're out there to do their business, and there's really nothing we can do about it. There is absolutely nothing we can do about it. Period, point blank, end the story. So, and Jeffrey says, like, WWE likes to travel and I love it. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I don't, because like I said before, I'll say it again, it's a global entertainment company. It's a huge conglomerate company. And WWE goes all over. So I can't help you with that. WWE will always be better and number one. Well, Chris, unfortunately, no company, no wrestling company is number one. There's no company that's perfect. No wrestling organization is perfect. We have to get that out of our mind. We have to get that out of our mind. We really do have to get that out of my mind. I rather have one promotion. Well, unfortunately, AEW is here to stay, Chris, and you just have to grin and bear it. Jeffrey. Okay, thank you. Um, Tony Khan is a well. Okay, Chris, you don't like the AEW. You don't have the trash talk. It in the chat. Yeah, Chris, please don't do that. Please don't do that. I miss the old WW days. Yeah, I understand that, Chris. I understand that. Guys, let's just keep our thoughts to ourselves in the chat, and let's not pollute the chat with negativity. I understand there are some people that don't like WWE and AEW, but let's not just pollute the entire chat with negative thoughts. Both organizations are right now at a pinnacle where they are going to do things that you may not like. All right? They're not going to do everything that you aspire to like or anything. And that's just the bottom line. That's the bottom line here. Um, I grew up watching Mid South wrestling. Yeah, I understand that. I grew up in the golden age of wrestling too, but I have evolved and I have adapted. Yeah, Jeffrey said keep it positive. I agree with that. Yeah, let's just keep the chat positive, folks. Let's just keep the chat positive and focus on what I'm trying to bring you here, and that is wrestling stories. So let's just keep it positive. And if you have a question or comment while I'm talking, then please do. Dog collar matches are absurd and music. Okay. Those are gimmick matches, Chris. Those are gimmick matches. All right, folks. Let's continue. Let's continue. Well, this is about wrestle. Okay. I already spoke about that. All right. Eric Bischoff says on his 83 Weeks podcast, Eric Bischoff was very disappointed in having WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. Professional wrestling is truly American phenomenon. And yes, it'll take place all over the world, but it's really like American phenomenon. It's uniquely American. You're going to have people disappointed in its decision. It's going to get some negative publicity. because, well, that's just the way people are, particularly in social media. It's also a little disappointing for me. I certainly relate to Vince's hesitancy. Let's put it in that way. So Eric Bischoff on his podcast showed that he was disappointed in the decision on WrestleMania. I disagree with Eric Bischoff and his assessment. I disagree with it because here's the thing. Here's the thing, as I said before, and I'll go back and I'll say this again. It's a global entertainment company. And WrestleMania is not really just an American an event for only Americans. Everybody comes to see WrestleMania. You have 50 people, you have 50 nations from around the world that come to WrestleMania and they see it every year. Every time WrestleMania drops into a city, it doesn't matter where it is, the folks come out. They come from London, they come from Ireland, they come from California, they come from Texas, they come from Florida, they come all over to see WrestleMania. WrestleMania is a global juggernaut event and it attracts the world and it's larger than life. I've been to 11 WrestleManias, and I'm going to tell you something, folks. There's nothing like it. The weekend is fun. It's full of activity. It's full of buzz, and it's full of excitement because you can't wait to get to that hotel room and check in on that WrestleMania weekend or getting on that plane and flying down to the WrestleMania city or traveling via bus to the WrestleMania city. It doesn't matter. So I disagree with Eric Bischoff. Um, will Eric feel the same way if it was in the UK? Well, that's a great question. That's a great question. That's a great question, Jeffrey. I agree with you. You can't have things your way all the time. No, you can't. No, you can't, Chris. Nope. Also, yeah, okay, that's cool. Okay, so I agree with what Jeffrey says. If he was in the, yeah, well, I don't know what he would say. Okay, right, right. All right, folks. All right, WrestlePalooza will. No, it won't, Chris. That's false. WrestleMania will never be replaced. WrestleMania will never be replaced. Never. There's no other event like WrestleMania. Nothing. And WWE will not drop that. Not the money that they make for 2 nights. Now, when WrestleMania was even when it was one night, they made a lot of money off of it. Now that you're doing it double nights, no, no. WrestleMania is not going anywhere. Um, wrestling news of .com. It looks like one of the biggest rumors about Andrade's WWE departure holding up, and now multiple sources are calling it out. Earlier today, the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer, suggested that Andrade's rocky exit from WWE may have involved him turning down a appearance for AAA. WWE has been talking over the promotion through crossover projects like Worlds Collide. And Meltzer claimed Andrade was wanted for it, but didn't do it. I know that they wanted him in AAA projects. I'm not sure that was, he didn't do it. So there's that. So you can read into what you want. I don't know. I don't know that that has anything to do with it or not. But now the entire narrative has been ripped apart. According to the PW Insider, not only did Andrade not refuse to appear in AAA, but no such request was even made. In fact, Andrade was never a part of any creative plans, including AAA, in the first place. We were we are told by three different sources that no point was that request made Andrade was ever even included in the pitch to AAA or creative ideas. The complete contradictory idea that Andrade's release was particularly triggered skipping out on an opportunity. If anything, it raises more questions about why they claim it was floated in the first place. Andrade's WWE exit followed reports of disciplinary issues that resulted in being sent home after SummerSlam. A planned tag team match at Clash in Paris was scrapped, and his creative direction came to a sudden halt. So, if you all don't know by now, I was a room I was a rumor about WrestleMania and will be 2 week event next year. I'll take that. No, it's not gonna be 2 weeks, Chris. That rumor is false. WrestleMania is not 2 weeks. I agree with you. I was rumored, I heard. Okay. I rather WWE succeed. Okay. I agree. Okay. So apparently Andrade had some issues with creative. So I'm just gonna just put this out here right now, ladies and gentlemen. And I gathered a lot of stuff that was going on. First of all, the first thing that happened was is Andrade was sent home on a recent edition of SmackDown because he showed up and he violated the wellness policy. Now, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure whether he came into the arena drunk or was he high or what. But something happened with Andrade and WWE management that night when he showed up for SmackDown and was sent home. He then was supposed to have a tag team title match with Ray Phoenix, and they were supposed to have a match at Clash in Paris. But Andrade refused to answer WWE's emails, phone calls, or anything of that nature. And WWE and TKO got tired of his shenanigans. And they just decided that this is it. We have to cut him. So that's what WWE did. They cut Andrade and they let him go because of his antics behind the scenes. Now he was frustrated. He was frustrated with creative, and he didn't like the way his creative control was. Now that led him to be released the first time, and this happened again to the second time. And apparently, he cannot take Triple H. He can't stand him. He can't stand him. And I again, like I said before, I say it again. Andrade went about it the wrong way. He went about it the wrong way, and I'm just putting that out there. No matter what you feel about someone personally or professionally, you don't take it out on the person that's counting on you to be there for them and to work with them. Andrade left Ray Phoenix in a lurch because that match was supposed to happen at Clash in Paris, but Andrade's behavior destroyed it and ruined the plan that they had going forward, and they had to scrap the plan. So I don't blame anybody but Andrade for this. his behavior and his actions towards creative was he did it the wrong way. He really did it the wrong way. And I understand he was frustrated. I understand that he couldn't get his point across and that he was upset with Triple H and creative. I get it. I get it, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and that was the wrong way. Showing up high or drunk or whatever you were doing backstage and not give a damn about what someone thought. So I just was just I don't blame WWE. I don't blame them at all for throwing their hands up and saying this is it. Um my bad, Clash in Paris. Okay, let's just go to the chat and see what's going on. I feel old school wrestling is dead because if Hogan is uh, soon Ric Flair, I feel. Oh, come on, Chris. Don't talk like that, Chris. Come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. If Rick, Chris, if you're gonna talk like that, I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm gonna have to let you go, Chris. You don't keep talking like that. Yeah, dude, Chris, come on now. Let it go already. I understand you're an old school wrestling fan, Chris. So am I. But I don't talk negativity. I don't talk things like that, especially in the chat. Don't be negative. Don't be negative. If you don't have anything to say, Chris, please don't ruin it for everyone in the chat. Please don't. I want everyone to have healthy debates here. We're talking about wrestling and we're not talking anything negative. And if you can't do anything healthy or positive, then I'm going to have to let you go. So this is your last warning, Chris. So getting back to Andrade, getting back to Andrade, um, I I like I like what WWE did here. I like what he did. I like what they did here. And Andrade shoot himself in the foot. So now Andrade has been released from WWE. He's out of WWE. He's out. And like I said, I I think that he really and truly hurt himself. He really and truly hurt himself here. And that's exactly what he did. Um, Bad move by Andrade. I get it, but this wasn't the right way to. That's exactly what I just said, Jeffrey. This was um okay, Chris. He just went about it the wrong way. Andrade went about it the wrong way, and it's just like MVP. I'll bring up MVP here. MVP on a recent podcast says that he cannot stand Triple H professionally or personally. Now, if you all remember, MVP was let go by WWE because he said some disparaging things about Triple H and Creative and TKO. Um, Ghosting WWE was a strike one. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, Andrade refused to talk to WWE, take their phone calls, and then to show up, which again, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but apparently he violated the wellness policy. We still don't know what happened backstage, but apparently he must have came in drunk. And WWE says, you're not going on TV tonight like that. You got to go home. And they send him home. And that was the end of Andrade. So I, again, like I said, this is the wrong way of doing it. WWE had no choice but to let Andrade go. And he only all Andrade has to do is look in the mirror and blame himself for this debacle. He has to look in the mirror and blame himself. You can't keep going to wrestling organizations. Doesn't matter where you go. You can't go to a wrestling organization and don't like what creative is doing with you, and then you lashing out at creative and hurting everyone else. That's what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing, and it's the wrong thing to do. Triple H gave him a second chance, and this is how he has. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Andrade was released the first time for his behavior, and then they brought him back to see maybe he would change, but he didn't. Yeah, and then he left Ray Phoenix in the dust, and now Ray Phoenix is off of WWE TV. They hardly doing anything with Ray Phoenix now on SmackDown. They don't have anything creative for him. They really don't. They don't put him prominently on TV as they did when he first came out. And again, this match was supposed to be tailor-made for him and Ray Phoenix. And who knows? Maybe if they would have went to Clash in Paris and wrestled the Wyatt Six for the tag team belts, maybe we would have got a shock. And maybe Andrade and Ray Phoenix would have became tag team champions. You don't know, but we'll never find that out. We'll never find that out because Andrade ruined it. He ruined it for Ray Phoenix, and he ruined it for himself. And he robbed the fans of maybe some shock moment in the match. That stinks. That stinks. That really and truly stinks. Um, Jeffrey said, "Yeah, I hope he gets the help he needs." Yeah, I hope so too. Just like Riddle, just like Riddle. Riddle was the same thing. He falls right in line with Riddle, Andrade. Have personal demons, and then because of your personal demons, you're taking it out on people. I mean, this is ridiculous. You can't do that. You're hurting people around you. Maybe Triple H would have sat you down and talked to you and maybe try to work something out, but you lashed out in the wrong way and now you're out of a job. And let's hope if you do go to another wrestling organization, you don't do the same thing you did in WWE twice. Wonder if that's why him and Charlotte divorced. It probably is. It probably is, Jeffrey. She just got tired of his shenanigans and his behavior. She don't want to be attached to that. Nobody wants to be attached to that. If you can't control yourself, or you can't control your demons, or you get angry very quickly, or you get so wound up that you are embarrassing yourself. Nobody wants to be associated with somebody like that, especially if they have a good reputation as Charlotte is. You don't want to be subject to that. You know. So I don't know, folks. I don't know. Um, I hope WWE brings back. Jake Hager retired, Chris. He's not in the wrestling business anymore. Jake Hager is no longer a wrestler. He is retired. All right, folks, let's continue. Booker T. That's not happening. No, it's not, Jeffrey. Booker T landed in hot water with fans after a clip from last week's NXT went viral. During the segment featuring Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, and Stephanie Vaquer, fans claimed that they heard the two-time WWE Hall of Fame said something obscene on commentary. The phrase, I gotta pop my blank, man, began circulating online, sparking controversy. But Booker T says that that's not what came out of his mouth, and he's not staying quiet about it either. On a new episode of his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T addressed the backlash directly. He explained that the commentary was misheard and blown out of proportion. According to Booker T, the phrase in question had nothing to do with what the fans thought they heard. I gotta pop my neck. Booker T says that he simply was reacting to the moment on screen and never meant anything inappropriate. Still, the outrage online led him to be more cautious on commentary. I just and just days later, when working SmackDown on guest commentary, he admitted he held back from saying anything that could be twisted again. Pop Pop it. No, I refrained. I didn't want to blow up on me again. People are trying to make up stories and trying to cancel me. He didn't stop there. Booker T voiced his frustration the way people seem eager to take him down over why anyone would want to cancel him at all. So Booker T, what is it? I promise you, he didn't say that. Yeah, I know, Jeffrey. I know you're laughing. Oh yeah, this story. Yeah, oh yeah, this story. People are soft these days. Yes, they are. I don't know what happened to wrestling fans. You guys, when some of you wrestling, not every wrestling fan, but you mostly your wrestling fans, you sit there and you listen to every nuance that's on television, and if you don't hear the right thing, you go to Twitter and you voice your displeasure, which I respect. Which I respect. I'm not going to knock wrestling fans for doing that. If you heard right, you heard right. But if and in this instance, you don't take every situation, everything that someone says, and blow it out of proportion. Don't do that. It's really not necessary for you to do that. It's not necessary. Not everything someone says is inappropriate. You know, I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, why did you say that about this person? Or why did you say that about?" And you have to go back in the video and take a look at what I said. You misconstrued what I said. And that's the truth. A lot of people sometimes misconstrued what other somebody is saying. You fly off the handle too easily and too quickly. You got to take a step back and sit down and listen. Listen to what the person is saying without jumping to conclusions. And that's the problem with people today. They don't do that. They don't sit back and look at everything that someone says. You can't hang on to everybody's word because it may be a figure of speech. I'll give you an example. Hold on. When I heard it, I laughed my butt. Well, yes, yes. People, yeah. Um, so I'll give you an example. Okay. Um, Last week I was in the post office. Okay, last week I was in the post office, and I I'm a very friendly person. I'm a very friendly person. As everybody knows, I'm very friendly. So, and a friend of mine was in there, and I haven't seen in a while, and all I said was, all I said was, "Hey guys, hey guys." Well, the woman that works in the post office thought I said, "Hey guys" to her, and I wasn't saying it to her, but she automatically misconstrued what I said. And then she goes on to say, we're not guys. We're two women that work back here. Your mom ever raised you? Did your mom raise you? And I was so taken back by it. I was like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not calling you a man. It's a figure of speech. When someone says, "Hey guys," it's not that I'm calling you a man or anything like that or I I'm being respectful. So it's a figure of speech. When someone says, "Hey guys," or hello or whatever, you can't just jump to conclusions like that. She thought you was disrespecting them. Yeah, that's what she thought, but I was not like that. No. Michael Jackson wrote the song Man in the Mirror. Yep. And I was not disrespecting her. I was not disrespecting her. I use that phrase all the time on people. I do. I use the phrase all the time. Hey guys, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's really nothing wrong with it. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't mean to be mean. And I don't mean to be cruel. When I say, hey guys, I don't mean anything by it. It's hey guys. Not saying that you're a man or whatever I mean I don't know, folks. The world we live in today is very weird, very strange. All right, folks, let's move on. Um, maybe if there if there was a group of people with her, she would have understood. I I don't. It doesn't matter, Jeffrey. I mean, the point is, don't jump to conclusions when someone uses catchphrases. These things are called catchphrases for a living. It's not to demean anybody or be derogatory or anything like that. It it's a phrase. It's a phrase. That's all it is. It's a figure of speech. Like if you walked into the room and said, "Oh," now if you walked into a room full of men and women and you just went in there and says, "Hello, gentlemen," but you should also address the women too. There's a woman and there are a couple of women in the room. So you come into the room and you said, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen." That's how I address everybody when I come on live. "Good evening, everyone," or I say, "Good evening, everyone." Or I say, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen." One out of the two, I'm using a phrase that I'm welcoming even our female audience. I'm not separating them. Um, that's 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 true. You're right. People saw STW. Yeah, yeah. WWE should have had a six-sided ring. Okay, so all right, folks. So that's the way I feel about it. Don't jump to conclusions, folks. Don't jump to conclusions. All right, folks. Let's talk about this for a second because this is really interesting. This story is very interesting. WWE and AEW went head to head on September the 7th, 2025. Okay? Well, first of all, the date is wrong. WWE and oh, I didn't even see this, folks. Okay, I think we're not going to use this because the date is wrong. Okay, folks, I'm looking over this story and I'm going to surmise that this is fake news. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on. We are going to move on. All right. This was another edition of Life with Earl. Yes, yes, Jeffrey. If you will, if you will, if you will. I love it. The, the book is coming out very soon. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, I digress. Oh gosh. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you will. um. Anyway, folks. That would sell like hotcakes. Yes, it would. Oh, yes, it would. Um. Oh, I'm gonna make Jeffrey laugh. I'm gonna make Jeffrey laugh. Before we get to the more wrestling news, I'm gonna make Jeffrey laugh. Yeah, Jeffrey, I got a story for you. Um, long time ago, I went to this party. It was a party, and we had it. You know those old basement. Um, I'm getting ready to watch TNA Impact. Okay, enjoy that, Chris. Enjoy. So, um, so we had the dance party in the basement, right? We had this dance party in the basement. So you know when everyone does the Soul Train line, right? You know when they do the Soul Train line. Well, everybody was doing it, and have a good night, Chris. Take care. Make sure you hit the like button. Yeah. So anyway, we're in the basement where everybody's doing the Soul Train line. As everybody knows what a Soul Train line is. Everybody get lines up on the rug, and then you do your due diligence, and then everybody else does their due diligence. So this one particular guy on the Soul Train line says, I dared the man. I said, how low can you go? How low can you go? Okay. So the man goes and he says, I'm going to show you. So he's going low and he's going all of a sudden, his pants in the back split like Brock Lesnar. His pants split like Brock Lesnar, and he went commando, and he had no underwear on, and he traumatized all the people that was in the party. Oh Lord! Oh, good night. No. so, so Moon over Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, I digress. So everyone saw the dark side of the moon. Moon over Miami.
Trend that worldwide, everyone. Moon over Miami. Trend that world. Oh, good night, nurse. Oh, good night, nurse. I digress. Oh, that's embarrassing. Yes. Oh boy. Anyway, folks, no, show you what I have seen over the years. Oh boy. Um, I wouldn't show my face ever again. Oh no, I don't. No. All right, folks. All right, let's continue with more wrestling news. Let's continue with wrestling news. John Cena. John Cena wants to put people over on that way on his way out. And that's why he lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza, says the Wrestling Observer. Okay, so if you all didn't hear, and this is and I'm going to bring this to you on the forefront. John Cena was supposed to win his match at WrestlePalooza. He was supposed to defeat Brock Lesnar, but Triple H changed the plans at the last minute and at an emergency meeting with Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Cena then agreed that he wanted to have Brock Lesnar destroy him in the match and made it a lopsided affair. So they all agreed to it, and that is what has exactly happened at WrestlePalooza. Cena decided that he did not want to win the match and that he wanted to put Brock Lesnar over. So that's exactly what they all agreed to, and that's exactly what happened backstage. Cena was supposed to win the match. He was supposed to win the match against Lesnar, but the plans were changed at the last minute. So that's what happened with that. Okay, now Lesnar, by the way, is now being advertised for WrestleMania 42. Um, expected in a big match. So apparently, WrestleMania 42, we're gonna see Lesnar in some kind of fashion. Who's he gonna fight at WrestleMania 42? Well, we're gonna find out. We got a long ways to April. Okay. WWE filed a trademark filing of Los Americanos. Expected the tag team name for the duo running around with the El Grande Americano. So the two Grande Americanos will be a tag team. I heard it's supposed to be Braun Breaker Earl. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, that I heard too, Jeffrey. I heard it's supposed to be Braun. That would be a good match. I think that'll be a good match because it'll be the first time Lesnar has ever met Braun Breaker, and I think that's a good program for Lesnar to be in. I would agree with that. I would definitely agree to that. I think that'll be a good program for Lesnar. I really think so. Put him in a match with Braun Breaker. I think that'll be great. I think that would be fantastic. But you know what else? You know what else would have been sweet in the pot? Here's what I would do to book this match. Here's what I would do. I would have a number one contenders match, and the winner of that match between Braun Breaker and Brock Lesnar will take on Seth Rollins for the title at the next pay-per-view offering. That's what I would do to sweeten the pot. That would be very intriguing. Um, Braun should destroy Brock. Yeah, and then could you imagine if that was a number one contenders match and he wins the match and he's the number one contender for Rollins belt? Well, how would that look for the Vision? How would that look? Um, Now, Who would Paul Heyman be in the corner? Well, I guess he would. I guess he would side with Ron Breaker since he's part of the Visionary. He would side with that. That's what I would believe. All right. Um. Okay, folks. Let's continue. So, Apparently, Grande Americana will be a tag team. Los Americanos is going to be a tag team with the two Grande Americanas. Okay, folks, let's continue. Frightful Select updates Piper Niven's injury by saying she's dealing with a serious neck issue. She apparently is awaiting official diagnosis. So Piper Niven will be on the shelf now. We don't know we don't know when Piper Niven's gonna return. She has some neck injury, and we're gonna find out how severe and how bad her neck is. Stay tuned to WWE TV and for further updates on Piper Niven, but we wish her very well and the best. Um, that would be interesting to see who Paul's loyalty be with. Yeah, well, that would be good. Yeah, speedy recovery to Piper Niven. Yeah. Um. Okay. Our final wrestling news, ladies and gentlemen. Per Lucha Libre Online, AAA is expected to start matching NXT in a basic salary to hold the cost of living and accommodation meals when they travel outside of the US. So AAA will meet the same salary as the NXT folks, and they will raise their salary on their wrestlers, their talent, their referees, and their production people, which is good because the cost of living in America is skyrocketing and things are expensive, especially airfare and hotels and everything else. So you really need to raise that cost of living. You really do. Um, Lots of neck injuries, yes. Lots of neck injuries. Okay, so folks, that's wrestling news. That is wrestling news. That is the wrestling news for tonight. All right, folks. WrestlePalooza. WWE WrestlePalooza.
WrestlePalooza was on Saturday, September 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Let's rewind WrestlePalooza. All right. Um, let's see. What did Jeffrey say? I I took care of the spamming oil. Okay. Okay, thank you, Jeffrey, for doing that. Thank you. Okay, folks, we're going to rewind. We are going to rewind WrestlePalooza. Now, here's the thing that everyone is souring on. WrestlePalooza was a bust. A lot of people were saying that it was a bust. It was a glorified Raw show, a glorified Monday Night Raw show. Like I said, ESPN really soured on this show, and they felt that the show lacked the hypeness that the WWE gave it. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to say about it, but I gave the show a B, and that's the best thing. So what I'm gonna do is first, I'm gonna go through each match, and then I'm gonna give you my entertainment level. I like giving entertainment level, and I like to give you analytics as well. I'll give you some analytics too. All right. Let's talk about the first match that opened the show. It was Brock Lesnar taking on John Cena. This was Cena's last match in the WWE against Lesnar. Cena was going to wrestle Lesnar in a well. This was just really one side. Cena really didn't have any offense. Lesnar dominated the match 89% of the time. Lesnar really and truly destroyed Cena in this match. Cena had zero offense in this match. Even a kid in the audience was crying, and everybody in the audience was shocked that Lesnar did this to Cena. But this is exactly what Lesnar did. Cena only did shoulder tackle. Yeah, that's the only thing he did. That is the only thing he did. This match brought the show down. It did. It brought the show down, and this was the beginning of what I would call a letdown. And so Lesnar went into the match. He came in the ring. He M5 Cena many times over. He gave him German suplexes. He destroyed a referee. He destroyed Cena again in the end of the match. I mean, this was one-sided. This was absolutely a one-sided woolly affair. Cena just gave shoulder tackles to Lesnar, and that was it. That was the match. Cena did 3 AA. Yeah, he did 3 AAs too. So he did a shoulder tackle and 3 AAs, and that was the end of the match, and that was the end of the night for Cena. There's really nothing to talk about, speak about. There's really nothing to critique. There's really nothing to analyze over. Really, there wasn't. There was nothing to write home about. Nothing. And if you were looking for something in a department where you were going to look for something good, and Brock had 7 F5. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Lesnar came into the match and he really dominated Cena. He really and truly dominated Cena. Cena just had zero. And when I mean zero, he had zero offense after the AAs. So, this was 2014 SummerSlam all over again, revisited. Okay, folks, on an entertainment level, I'm going to give the match a 0. The match gets a 0. The match gets a 0. Because this wasn't entertaining to me. The match got a 0 because it wasn't entertaining. It wasn't entertaining. It was not entertaining to me. And this is the first time in wrestling experience, in the 3 years of the wrestling experience, I gave a match a 0. The match got a 0. And that's I'm sorry, but it's just even a -1. No, Jeff. The match gets a 0. Now Paul Heyman was entertaining, introducing. Yeah, Heyman was good introducing Brock Lesnar. I had no issues with that. That was fine. The match, however, was not entertainment to watch. It was very hard to watch that. Very hard to stomach and watch. Okay, folks. All right. The mixed tag team match. CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This match was fun. The tag team match was fun. The mixed tag team match was fun. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins worked well together in a mixed tag. I think this is the first time that these two, husband and wife duo, was in a mixed tag team match together. I don't think in WWE history Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins were ever in a mixed tag team match together. So this was a first. And I believe CM Punk too. This was his first mixed tag with AJ Lee. So this was a lot of firsts in this match. Now we get something to talk about. The mixed tag team match this was amazing. This mixed tag team match was amazing, and I agree with Jeffrey. All right, folks, this match was fine. This Everybody played their part well in the match. Great chemistry, great nuance. Apparently, from what I understand, AJ Lee got a little injured in the match. I'm not sure what the injury is. I'm not sure what happened to her. But in the match, she held her own in the match. She held her own, and this was great. This was absolutely great. We also had a mix. Like they had some of the women touching the men, and the men were touching the women. So this was a little spice of life here. And like I said, the match was fine. The match was fun for what it was, and it was great to see. Um, No, Earl. Seth Rollins and Becky teamed together against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Oh, yes, that is right, Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your history of your wrestling mind. Thank you, Jeffrey, for that. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that match. Yes. Absolutely correct. Yes, I remember that mixed tag team match very fondly. Um, yeah, love how they made AJ Lee work for the hot tag. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like all of that. Like I said, the match was entertaining, folks. The match was fun. And on an entertainment level, folks, I'm going to give this match a 9. The match gets a 9. And that was the best mixed tag team match I've seen in a vastly long time. This was a lot of fun. It was entertaining. Punk and AJ Lee win the match, and it was absolutely great. It was just dessert for the both of them, and this was great. This was great. And what did Jeffrey says? Remember, Baron had have Becky in the end of days. Seth was livid. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Seth was livid when he gave her the end of days. Yeah, yeah, he was not happy about that at all. Okay, folks. So the match gets a 9 for me. The match gets a 9, and I like the match. I like it. I like it. I thought it was very highly entertaining. Okay, the Usos take on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. This Uso match, boy, was I wrong in my predictions. I says that the Usos would have won this match, but um, my good friend Hooligrim had Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed win the match, and he was correct in his assessment. So congratulations to him. The Usos in this match, again, another fun tag team match. Another fun tag team match. The Usos and Braun Breaker. This was something else. And to add LA Knight in the mix. And now again, like I said before, I'll say it again. I want this feud to come to an end because now you're going to be it's going to become redundant. The feud is going to become redundant. You're going to have the Usos and Knight and all of them going after the Vision, and we need something different. We need something else better in this feud. Um, Putting LA Knight as the ref yeah, it was a lot of shenanigans when Knight was the referee. But in the end, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker win the match. The match was fine. Everybody played their part well in the match. And yeah, this was good stuff. This was good stuff. This is good. So on an entertainment level, I'm gonna give this match. I'll give the match a 6. The match gets a 6. And that's the best I can do for it. The match gets a 6 on an entertainment level. Okay. Yeah, Jay was busted open and he suffered a slight concussion after the match. Okay. So he gave the match a 6. Let's move on. for the vacated women's championship match. Io Sky took on Stephanie Vecchia. Stephanie Vecchia and Io Sky went to war over the vacated champ. Now I had said, and I'm gonna apologize here. I had thought that Stephanie Vecchia was not ready to become that big champion and be put in the spotlight, but WWE disagreed with my assessment, which is fine because I know a lot of people think that Stephanie Vecchia is ready to become champion, and she did win the match. Yes, Jeffrey, and congratulations to you and to everyone who picked Stephanie to win the belt, and she did. And she did. She did indeed. The match was fine. The match was good for what it was. I like Io Sky. She really could wrestle. She held her own in the match, and this was great. This was great. And let me tell you something. Before I even give you my entertainment level, I was happy that some of these matches ended in a clean fashion. I was so happy about that the match was in a clean level. It was good. Yeah, no shenanigans. No, there was no shenanigans. Yeah, she won it clean. No shenanigans from Oscar. She wins the match clean. And that's what I liked. I wanted to see Stephanie Vecchia, if they were going to put the belt on her, I didn't want to see any interference. I didn't want to see anything like that. I didn't want it to be marred in controversy. She won it fair and square. And again, congratulations to Stephanie and becoming the new women's championship, which, by the way, she will be on SmackDown tomorrow night because there's some huge implications. There's some huge implications going towards Crown Jewel. Remember, she's supposed to take on Tiffany Stratton for the first time ever, champion versus champion match at Crown Jewel. However, the belt is up for grabs tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown, where Tiffany Stratton will put up the title in a triple threat match against Jade and Nia Jax. So Stephanie said she'll be in the house, she'll be there, and she will watch the match intently and to see what's going on. So Stephanie wants a up close and personal look at this triple threat match, and I don't blame her because let me tell you something, folks. I'm gonna call that match, and I'll be on the air tomorrow night for the last time. While I take a break after this, I'll be taking a break, folks. Um, so join me tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown. I'll be on the air at 7:50, and we're gonna have fun with that match, and we're gonna have fun with the other SmackDown matches as well. That's Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow night on the USA Network. Um, C CTK, we don't need No, we don't. No, we don't. I hope Jade wins. I hope. Well, we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see about that. But I have Tiffany retaining. I think Tiffany is going to retain the belt, and she's going to retain, and that means she'll take on Stephanie at Crown Jewel, and I think that's what the WWE wants at this point. Okay, so on an entertainment level, I'm going to give this match a 10. The match gets a 10. The match gets a 10. I was thoroughly entertained. I liked the way these two women went at it in the match. They went move for move, counter for counter, and they showed the athleticism in the ring. Very respectful, and it was done tastefully, and Stephanie wins the match. So I'm going to give this match a 10. I'm going to give the match a 10 on the entertainment level. All right, folks. All right. We're up to the final match of the night, and that was the Undisputed Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Another hard physical affair. I said earlier in the stream that Cody Rhodes thought of the idea of dropping the belt to Drew, but they changed their mind at the last minute, and Drew went over. And Cody went over in this match, and he gave Drew the crossroads and retained the title. I had no issues with this match whatsoever. Another clean finish win for Cody Rhodes and his title defense against Drew McIntyre. Um, like I said, the match was fine. The match was okay for what it was, and and um and I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was really good. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was WrestlePalooza. All right, folks. Okay, Jeffrey. Okay, Jeffrey. I'll have a good night, and I'll talk to you real soon. Be well. Okay, Jeffrey. Good night. All right. All right, folks. That was WrestlePalooza. Wish I could stay long. I understand, Jeffrey. You got things to do. That's fine. Stay safe, brother. You too, Jeffrey. Take care. Take care. Have a good night. Be safe. All right, folks. That was WrestlePalooza. That was WrestlePalooza. Okay, folks. We are going to now give you All Out. All Out, ladies and gentlemen. All Out was Saturday night. And I'm going to tell you something. As I said before, I want to thank you all for watching All Out. And I want to thank you for watching WrestlePalooza. It was an 8-hour epilogue of wrestling that I gave you, but it was great. This was a long evening of wrestling, but I enjoyed it. AEW's All Out was fantastic. It was fantastic. The main event was woolly wild and all over the place. We had Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy reuniting. Beth Phoenix came down, and what FTR did to her was great. The show as a whole, I gave it a B. I gave it a solid B. Darby Allin in the coffin match. John Moxley really destroyed. He really put the pedal to the metal, and Pac came back and returned to the Death Riders and helped John Moxley defeat Darby Allin in the coffin match. And now he's challenging Moxley to a I Quit match. And again, like I said last night on Dynamite, this is suicide. This is career suicide for Darby Allin because let's just face it, Darby Allin, there's no way he's going to win that match against Moxley. It's brutally obvious. It's brutally honest here. So the match between Moxley and Darby Allin, I gave the match in entertainment level, it was really terrible to see Darby Allin lose this match. I give the match a 6. Match gets a 6, and that's the best I can do for it, folks. I can't give it any higher than that. I just can't. I cannot, for the life of me, folks, raise it any higher than that. I can't. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage took on FTR. The match was fine. The match was all right. Beth Phoenix came out and she speared Stokely Hathaway on the ramp. She carried him away. And all of a sudden, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage win the match. But boy, did they lose the war, because out came Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, and they orchestrated the most heinous thing towards Adam Copeland's wife. And FTR spike power drived her right in front of Adam Copeland while he was handcuffed to the ropes. This was absolutely hideous. I didn't want to see that happen to Beth Phoenix, but it did happen. It did happen. And it's unfortunate that that happened like that. So, on an entertainment level, the tag team match, I'll give the match a 6 as well. I'll give the match a 6, but what happened afterwards was not entertaining for me. The tag team match was, but the aftermath was absolutely ridiculous. I didn't care for it. All right, the ladder match for the AEW tag team titles. The ladder match was fun. Brodito and of course Jet Speed, of course the Young Bucks were all in this match, and the Don Callis family was in this match as well. The ladder match was fun. It was physical. It was hard hitting. It was a Willie Wildin affair. In the end, Brodito retained the titles. They retained the titles, and I love a good ladder match. I like a good tag team ladder match. I thought the match was fun. I thought it was all right for what it was. Brodito got the belt, they climbed the ladder, they pulled down the belts and retained the title. And on an entertainment level, I'm going to give this match, a 7. The match gets a 7, and and it was good for what it was. All right. All right, folks. All right. Now, here was some shocking thing here comes some shocking thing. For the AEW Women's Championship, it was Toni Storm taking on Chris Statlander, Tekla, and of course, Jamie Hayter. The match was fine. The match was all right for what it was. Here comes the most shocking thing. Will Yuta came out and whispered something to Statlander, and she used the muffler roll up to win the AEW Women's Championship in a shocking fashion. I had thought that Toni Storm was going to retain the title, but that is not what we got. That's not what we got. Toni Storm loses the AEW Women's Championship to Chris Statlander. And last night, the Death Riders all came out and they were surrounding Statlander. They wanted to recruit her in the Death Riders. She gave them all Italian salute and told them how she feels. Darby Allin comes out with a flamethrower and he says to Jon Moxley, I quit match at Wrestle Dream. So following up with that, on an entertainment level, I'm in this Fatal 4-Way a 5. The Fatal 4-Way gets a 5. And that's the best I can do with it. All right, folks, let's continue. And continue we will. So, MJF and Mark Briscoe went at it in a thumbtack match. Thumbtack and table match. Match was full of thumbtacks. I think this is the first time we've ever had a thumbtack match in AEW history. Mark Briscoe went over MJF in the match with the Jay Driller. Very gory and at times hard to watch match if you're not into gore. MJF's back was full of thumbtacks. He looked like a pin cushion and everything else in between. So the match was fine. The match was all right for what it was. I knew it. I knew that I thought that MJF was going to win the match, but that's not what AEW wanted. They gave it to Mark Briscoe. Briscoe wins the match over MJF. And that program is done and over with. And welcome back, Orange Cassidy, who returned to AEW last night on Dynamite. All right. So on an entertainment level, I'm gonna give this thumbtack match. I'll give it a 7. The match gets a 7. It was gory, physical, hard-hitting affair. Very physical. Okay, folks, let's move on. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony took on the Hurt Syndicate of Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. Again, another shocking thing. I had thought that this Hurt Syndicate with MVP would have won this match, but we didn't get it that way. And MVP and Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley lost to Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. So on an entertainment level, I'll give the match a 6. I'll be nice. I'll give the match a 6. It was a hard physical tag team match, to say none the least. They both men went to war. They both men went to war in this match. All right, let's continue, folks. Mercedes Moné defended the TBS championship against Rio. Nothing to write home about. We all knew that she was going to retain, and retain she did. I wasn't entertained by it. I don't respect her. She came out with a bunch of men that had the titles that she currently owns, and she won. I just can't respect her as a champion. If you do, that's fine. I'm not going to trample on your thought process. The match wasn't entertaining for me. It wasn't. And because of that, and because she retains, I'm going to give the match a 2. Match gets a 2. And again, like I said, I wasn't entertained. I knew she was going to retain. I knew Rio was not going to get the belt. So I gave the match a 2, and we're going to move on. Okay. All right. Okada and Takeshita and Mascara Dorada took on Okada for the Unified Championship, and this was contested under Continental rules, which means that nobody can interfere in the match. Consequences will happen if you do. Match was fine. Okada retained. We knew he was going to retain. This again was another hard-hitting affair for the Unified Championship. I mean, here's the thing that I don't understand. Why is Don Callis still walking around with the 2 belts, and Okada has the unified title around his waist? Those 2 belts should have been given back to AEW and retired. I don't understand why Okada comes out with Don Callis and is still carrying around the 2 belts and the unified belt around his waist. Doesn't make any sense. Those belts should be retired and given back to AEW and Tony Khan. But that's just my opinion and my opinion only. On an entertainment level, I get a match a 7. Match gets a 7. And it was good for what it was. It's good for what it was. It was good. All right, folks. We're up to the main event of All Out. And that was Hangman Adam Page taking on Kyle Fletcher for the men's world championship. Now, I don't understand why they're calling it the men's title. I understand that they're now starting to call it the men's title. I don't know. Maybe people are confused. I don't know. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But it's for the men's title. All right. Match was fine. The match was physical. And Hangman Adam Page, really, Kyle Fletcher dominated this match 98% of the time in the match. I had thought at one point in the match that the match was going to go the way of Kyle Fletcher, and he's going to walk out. He was going to walk out of Toronto the champion, but that was not the case. Hangman Adam Page came back in the match, and when the smoke was cleared, he retained the title against Kyle Fletcher. One point in the match, the crowd chanted, "You're not ready, you're not ready." And Hangman Adam Page arose to the occasion and retained the title. And he retained the title, and then he wins the match. So it was fine for what it was. On an entertainment level, I'm going to give the match, I'll give the match an 8. The match gets an 8. The main event gets an 8. Kyle Fletcher really and truly was dominating in this match. And it was almost like watching Brock Lesnar and Cena. And how dominant it was. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to bring down the dial. Because of what I just said. Before what I just said, and Kyle Fletcher, this was really at times this was a one-sided affair. I dropped the entertainment level. I give the match a 5. The match gets a 5. And that's the best I can do for it at this point. The match gets a 5. And that's it. That's it. The match gets a 5, and that is it. So, folks, that was AEW All Out in Toronto. And, folks, that is going to do it for the wrestling experience. I want to thank you all for watching tonight's telecast. Tomorrow night, folks, is my final broadcast of this week, as I will take the week off next week. So join me tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown. I'll be on the air at 7:50 for Friday Night SmackDown. And until then, everyone, thank you for watching the wrestling experience. I gave you wrestling stories. I gave you rewindment. And now, folks, it's time for me to head into relaxation. Until then, everyone, I'll see you tomorrow night, just 24 hours from now, with Friday Night SmackDown. Until then, everyone, have a good night. Be well. And remember, folks, take care of yourselves and each other.